Although this is France, I'm standing on Canadian soil. At the Battle of Arras in 1917, 4 Canadian divisions stormed Vimy Ridge, a German strongpoint. 74,000 Canadian soldiers lost their lives in World War I, and this huge war memorial is a tribute to their gallantry. Only the old soldiers can know what it is to fight in a war, to look into the eyes of the enemy, see false bravado on the face of a scared young boy, and to have to kill or be killed. World War I fought for the aspirations of the German Empire to predominate in world affairs. Germany, Austria-Hungary and Italy on one side, and the military but defensive Triple Alliance of France, Russia and Britain on the other. It was here at Vimy that Canadian forces as part of the Commonwealth faced the Germans. At the end of the war in 1918, nearly 1 million British Empire troops had lost their lives, and close to 2.5 million had been wounded. Near to Vimy is the German cemetery, and each of these crosses bears the names of 4 young soldiers who lost their lives too, sons who never came home. And yet, notwithstanding this dreadful waste of lives, barely 20 years later Hitler was on the move and ignored all ultimatums to withdraw as he advanced into France.
Our intelligence source knew that Adolf Hitler was becoming a very strong man. We sent our forces over to France to basically give France support. But we were still sort of fighting as if we were still with the First World War.
On May the 10th, 1942, Hitler's armies struck westward across Europe. Within 3 weeks, Holland and Belgium had surrendered, and German panzer divisions had split the French and British armies. The British Expeditionary Force and a substantial number of French and Allied troops were trapped in a diminishing pocket of land centred here on the port of Dunkirk. On May the 25th, Boulogne surrendered, and the following day, Calais fell. That night, the order was given to evacuate as many men as possible from the beaches of Dunkirk.
They say it was a complete mass of ships of all shapes and sizes. No logical plan, just getting across, avoiding the bombardment by the German bombers and the German fighters.
The tunnels built into the cliffs of Dover for the possible invasion by Napoleon now became a key factor in the fight against Hitler.
Because of the very nature of the tunnels and the bravery of everybody concerned, the 2-day rescue plan lasted for 9 days. Over 1/3 British and Allied troops were rescued, and with the war continuing and getting steadily more severe, the strategic placing of these tunnels saw them remain active right up until the very end of that war. It would have been an absolute hive of activity. 700 people were working down here. Most of it was to do with communication, working as many hours as they could under the appalling conditions in these tunnels to just bring to a conclusion this awful Second World War.
And the people of occupied France fought too. In Arras, 218 members of the French resistance were executed. The youngest was only 16 and a half, the oldest 69.
In Calais it was difficult to resist because there were too many Germans, but we cut telephone wires to obstruct, always. It was what I would call a small resistance. Many people were killed by the Germans. We have many people who died in concentration camp. They belonged to the secret army, and that was more serious, and they never came back. Calais was retaken by the Canadians on the last day of September by the Winnipegs, but also by people of the 7th and 8th Brigade that had arrived at Robière, Juno Beach. And I remember one of them, people on the road saying, "Vive les Tommies!" He said, "We are not Tommies, we are Canadians." You must say, "Vive le Tommy, Canada!"
After being occupied for 5 years, the town of Dunkirk was liberated on May the 10th, 1945, and has received 2 citations for serving France well and as an heroic town, an example for the whole nation. The town of Dunkirk was the last town in France to be liberated.